the engage phase, the teacher talked to the students about the fairy tale of Cinderella. Cinderella's evil stepmother stopped her from going to the ball by throwing lentils in the ash and telling her she had to pick out all the lentils before she could go. Cinderella asked assistance from some of her bird friends to pick out the lentils. The teacher asked the question, what if the birds had not helped Cinderella? What alternatives would she have had to separate the lentils? In the explore phase, students gave their answers and wanted to explore their own ideas. The most brought up answer was sifting. Other suggestions was putting them in a larger bowl, adding some type of wind to blow the ashes and leave the lentils stay. Another answer was adding water to the mixtures so the ashes would float and the lentils would sink. The students then put on aprons and goggles to help them protect themselves from the ashes. Students then worked in groups of 3s with 3 tablespoons per each group to test out their ideas. In the explain phase, the students shared their different ideas and experiences with the class. The students told the class that blowing and sifting worked well, but adding water to the mixture was not successful because part of the ashes would sink with the lentils. Students then discussed why sifting and blowing worked better. Their discussion discussed particle size when sifting and the difference in weight when blowing. After discussing and comparing different methods, the students finally agreed on sifting as the most successful method when trying to separate these two mixtures. In the elaborate phase, the teacher raised the question, what would we have done if the evil stepmother had been very mean and asked her to separate a mixture of salt, iron, plastic, and sand into each of its components? The students were then asked to observe and distinguish the differences of particle size, magnetism, and solubility in the related materials. The goal for the students was to recover the given amount of the substances in pure form, having no other substance present. Also in the explain phase, the students learned how to use a scale. The scale was necessary to compare the results of the recovered amounts of salt, sand, iron, and plastic with the original amounts. The separation of the 4 compound mixtures was conducted in small teams of 2 or 3 students. The students separated the iron by using a magnet, added the mixture to a small amount of water and skimming off the plastic beads on the top, filtering the mixture to separate the sand by sifting, and finally heating the salt water to recover the salt. There's many ways to adapt this experiment to many different levels of students. In the evaluate stage, the teacher handed out cards with the original amounts of each substance, and at a table, the students compared the original amounts with the amounts they were able to regain. Student success was then measured by checking whether the 4 recovered substances were pure. If the substances still contained traces of another, the separation was not successful. If the substance was pure, the weight regained from the substance would then be considered. The group with substances that appeared pure to the eye and had the smallest deviations from the original amount won. In addition to the pureness and the weight of the substance, the number of needed steps was also in criteria for the assessment.